Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Apex Racing TV and our live coverage of the iRacing Israel League Season 8. We're here for rounds 9 and 10 at the beautiful Road Atlanta here in Georgia, the United States. And happy to be alongside Andy Thompson. My name is Dane Baird, alongside Andy, of course, and Sam Fitzpatrick up in the virtual production trailer. Andy, we've got some GT4 action today. Road Atlanta, always a good circuit for racing. What are you expecting today?
Yeah, thank you, Dane, and thank you, viewers. Yeah, it's a really good track for these GT4 cars. You don't very much see a lot of GT4 car leagues out there, so it's great to be a part of this one. I mean, Road Atlanta, really tricky track. I mean, you got such changes in elevations around corners. You got diving down really in through the S's through turns 2, 3, and 4. And then you go back up towards turn number 5, and then you got the extremely long back straight and the very tricky S's at the end of that turns 10A and 10B. So, I mean, I'm expecting a lot of lunges, late lunges into turn A to make the passing moves, but I suppose that's where you can make a lot of mistakes around this track.
Yeah, definitely easy to make mistakes. You've got grass everywhere. There is no tarmac runoff in sight at any point on the circuit. So if you do make a mistake, it obviously is going to accelerate that a massive amount. Yeah, going through the first sector, really tight and twisty stuff. Loads of fun to send it through there, but often we do see carnage at the beginning of races here at Road Atlanta. So hopefully the drivers will be able to keep it nice and clean. So 2 15-minute races coming up for you today. Top 10 will be inverted after the first one. That will set the grid for the second race. And we've got qualifying going on at the moment. Just about 1 minute 30 left on the clock. You can see most of the drivers have already set their lap times, I believe, as we take a look at Yossi Gabai making his way down the back straight. And this, Andy, is going to be the biggest overtaking opportunity down in towards that final chicane at turn 10. It's really heavy braking zone downhill. You can send it from quite far back, and it's quite a tight corner as well. Should be some good action down there.
It certainly should, and obviously, you know, being such a long straight, if you are behind the car in front quite close proximity, you're going to get that slipstream effect as well, so making a really good passing opportunity. We may see some optimistic moves. I mean, turn 1 is very tricky out on this track. It's easy to get offline, get onto the grass, like you said, no runoff rear around Road Atlanta, so if you hit the green stuff on the outside, you probably find yourself spinning, and then you go up the slight hill to turns 2 and 3, the blind corner, you know, very easy to get that wrong, and cars going offline So it could easily be caught up by quite a few incidents going down there. But yeah, I'm expecting some really good racing around here. I mean, you said clean and safe with 15-minute races. They sort of don't seem to go together normally on Apex. So it's going to be extremely interesting. I love these 15-minute races because pretty much it's send it city, you know, and I'm pretty sure, like you said, Dane, that this league is no different than any other Apex 15-minute league. So I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah, there's one thing that the drivers in this series love to entertain us. They will go for any move that is put in front of them. If there is a move up in towards turn number 5, if they can send it, they will, and it makes for some fantastic action. Most of the time, they do it quite cleanly as well. So we'll see how they do when they get faced with the tight and twisty turns of Road Atlantas. They line up on the grid to start off their full-length pace lap, so a couple minutes until we go green here still. Reem Gross managed to get pole position then with a 125.234, just about beating Reuven Chacha to that front spot by 0.5 of a second. And then third place in first in the AM category, Ido Isaac in the number 90, just 0.3 back. Alongside him, John Chico in fourth. Yari Malkov in fifth position alongside Madi Bakar, Hagai Ferran and Tal Stern on row 4, with Mark Zubarev and Rancioni rounding out your top 10. Really Sir and Yosti Gabai in 11th and 12th, and it's good to see it. A lot of the AM drivers actually making their way up into the middle of that pro field, so we should have some interesting inter-class battles going on here, which is good. Adon Sher in 13th alongside Ofer Mazuz. Then we've got Yehuda Ben Yosef, Bertie Galili, draw last, and Toma Ventura rounding out the drivers setting a lap time in qualifying. Nadav Yaron, unfortunately, not setting a lap time in the qualifying session. And we don't have any drivers serving a pit start penalty, which we do have sometimes. No drivers getting penalties from the last round, despite all the drama that we had at Road America last time out. So good to see that the drivers all being nice and clean out there. The pace car pulls away then, and we're going to have a nice opportunity to look through an entire lap of this Road Atlanta circuit before we get going. This is going to be turn number 1 then, Andy, and it's obviously very difficult to make it through cleanly here. You've got 19 cars trying to funnel their way through. Nice and wide on the entry, but a fast right-hander blind on the apex and up the hill over the crest. It tightens up very quickly.
Yeah, it's a very tricky corner, you know, expect to see some passing moves, and if you see cars going 2x2 wide up there, it's going to be a bit of a tight squeeze. Certainly coming up to this corner, like you said, going up the hill, very much a blind corner into turn number 3. Down here, it's very much one line under normal racing conditions, but I'm pretty sure, as you said, if somebody gives an opportunity down through these S's, they'll be taken gladly. Come up to the very treacherous, often turn number 5, extremely fast left-hand corner, so it's going to be interesting there. Literally taking a lot of track. I think that is the only area actually with a little bit of tarmac on the outside, so you'll expect to see the drivers getting quite close to that wall on the right-hand side.
Yeah, and it is the only reason there's tarmac there is because of the alternate layout that cuts out this part of the circuit. Turns officially turns 6 and 7. We'll take a look at the championship standings then for you. Up at the top, 235 points to Reuven Chacha. He is just leading the championship ahead of Alon Day, not present in this round, so good opportunity for Reuven to gain a championship advantage there. John Chico in 3rd, Reem Gross in 4th, and Hagai Ferran in your top 5, but very close there you can see with the drivers in that point standings as we are in the penultimate circuit of the championship. We go to the season finale, rounds 11 and 12 in 2 weeks time. Look at the AM championship before we get going. Tal Stern leading that one, Rancioni, Mark Zubarev, Really Sir and Yehuda Ben Yosef rounding out your top 5 in that category. But because obviously the AM drivers finishing slightly lower down on average, the points are much closer in that championship. So it'll be interesting to see how that looks by the end of tonight, but we are about to get going here for race number 9 in season 8 of the iRacing Israel League. Reem Gross will lead the pack through turns 10A and 10B. Up and over the crest, the pace car pulls in, and we are already underway. A very early getaway for Reem Gross, and he will lead the field to green here to start race number 1. Reuven Chachashvili just behind John Chico, going side by side with Ido Wisdake. John Chico already up a position, started in 4th place. He's got to go around the outside of the McLaren, and he's going to do that successfully as they make their way up the hill. Now, are we all going to make it through cleanly? It's side by side five for the race lead there, as Chacha wants the race lead already, but Reem Gross holds off on the inside, and they'll file single file for the most part, but around is going to go the Mercedes and the McLaren. That is Ido Isaac and Yaroslav Malkov, who are dropping down through the order. It looks like somehow everyone's managed to avoid them.
Yeah, definitely. Those two were really battling hard coming up through turn number one side by side, and the McLaren driver was just giving no inch coming down through the S's for the first time, and unfortunately made contact. Lost a bit of traction coming down there due to the tyres being cold on this first lap. So our first two casualties of this first 15-minute race around here in Road Atlanta. But Reem Gross got a really good start off the line, really caught the rest of the field napping, but Chacha and Chico there managing to get right onto the back of Gross, so that early advantage that Gross had has sort of whittled away. But the front three are actually getting out of the field. You can see the field there, 18 cars, 19 cars out on track for the first lap, as we see a side-by-side here into 10A of Tal Stern, just trying to get the position there over Marcos Arabi. So it's a bit of an incident there around the back.
Yeah, and that is Rancioni in the number 20 Mercedes GT4, unfortunately getting turned around there in the second part of that chicane. Reem Gross leads across the line to start lap number 2. Driven not able to get past just yet, but there's very close gap. Half a second separates your top 3 in this race. Reem Gross, Riven Chacha, and John Chico making their way through the S's now. If it stays this close, you'd assume someone's going to be able to make a move in towards that turn 10 sequence, as they are going single file mostly through the field. A little bit wide there on the outside for Reem Gross out of turn 5. And just looking at something, if anyone's wondering how that's turn 5, even though they just watched 9 corners, Road Atlanta has such an interesting corner numbering system that despite them skipping 3 corners in the S's section and not numbering them, they've come up to the right number of 13 corners on the circuit.
Did you reckon they just got to numbers and then thought, yeah, I can't be bothered getting any more corners out, so I'll just skip out a few early on and just keep to a nice round number of 12. But looking at the field at the moment, the top 3, Gross, Chacha, Chico, just pulling out a massive lead over a car in 4th there with just a massive lead. The guys at the front are managing to pull away. Stern is your top of the AMs at the moment as we go back to a replay.
And we'll see what happened on lap 1 with Ido Isaac there. Just that instant into the S's there, just getting together, and the rest of the field doing a fantastic job, actually, of all getting past cleanly, which is what you like to see. Oftentimes when an incident happens there, you'll see drivers just coming back onto the circuit, or drivers not being able to see with the cars in front of them, and just slamming into the side of these stricken vehicles there. Coming through the S's now, once again, we're going to see a move being made into turn number 3, and it's around to go 2 of the cars there. That's Yaron and Aidan Scher. Both of them going around, a little bit of contact being made on the apex of turn 3, and around both of those will go. And Yaron's just towed back to the pit lane as well, unfortunately. He will have to come back out after taking a fast repair. As we look a little bit further up, this is Zubrev trying to defend against Yossi Gabay. He's going to send it up the inside and towards turn number 7. And now they'll go out side by side down the long back straight through what's called turns 8 and 9. A little bit on the grass there for Zubrev. And he has got the pace advantage, I believe. Got a little bit of draft from the cars in front. There's a battle for the lead going on here. Reem Gross on the inside defending the lead from Ruben Chacha.
Yeah, it definitely is, but we come back to Zubrev and Gabay here, just coming down into turn 8 side by side. Zubrev just giving a little bit of room there to give Gabay the advantage coming through turn 10A, just to get that speed on the outside. But you've got to watch out for the car behind Zur in P3 of the AMS. So these 3 at the moment, the top 3 in the AMS, having a nice little battle out on field. Going around at turn number 1, you can see on board here with Zadev Reeves in 3rd place overall in your AMS. How treacherous that turn 1 corner can be. They pretty much given a lot of space to each other, but the 3 at the front of this race, Gross, Chacha and Chico, literally putting the pedal to the metal. Currently 5 minutes into this first 15-minute race, and it looks like a procession really from these 3 drivers. Very similar paint jobs on that car in the Mercedes, and like you were saying earlier on, Dane, is the Mercedes seems to be the car of choice, pretty much like the GT3s in this GT4 class.
Yep, and they're almost going to go side by side. They are going to go side by side further back. John Chico on the left of our screen, on the right-hand side for the drivers. They're going to make their way down through the right-hand of turn 9 in towards the braking zone for turn 10. Is Ruben Chachafili going to file back? He is just going to file back and take and settle for that third position there, side by side, just a little bit further back as well. It's Sagai Farron and Maddie Bakar on the inside in the McLaren, trying to make a move work here. Almost contact between the two of them, and Farron is just about going to hold on in that Mercedes.
Yeah, and you have corrected the amount of battling that is going out on this league. All very clean at the moment. Slight little bit of door rubbing there between Farrar and Bakar to be able to do. But that McLaren is a very nippy car. Certainly around tracks with some heavy braking zones. So that McLaren car is especially good on that. But it does seem to lose the tyres quite quickly, but on a 15-minute race it probably doesn't really matter that much. So at the moment the McLaren is doing a great job trying to keep up with that Mercedes in front, but going a little wide there through the S's, nearly getting offline, hitting the curb on the inside, coming up into turn number 5. As like I said, they literally take that runoff on the outside, and I'm not really seeing anyone go quite close to the wall at the moment coming out of turn number 5, but a great battle at the moment between Farhan and Bakar for that P4 spot. But the front three at the moment is pretty much a race between them, where the positions are going to end up and where the podium is at the moment, as we currently ride on board with Chico inside another car. Oh no, it's the back we were looking at. So
we're looking at the back. Chachafili pushing him along the back straight there. Not looking to make a move just yet, but he knows battling is only going to allow Rimgross to accelerate off into the distance. Obviously, going side by side through the corner is never the fastest way, but two cars are faster than one, and that is exactly the reason why Ruben's just tucked in the draft down the long back straight there, and he's just pushing John Chico with a little bit of extra horsepower on the car, just pushing him down the back straight, hopefully closing back up to Rimgross, who extended a little bit of an advantage, and on that last lap, Andy, setting purple, fastest lap of the race so far for our race leader.
Yeah, trying to push out only 2/200ths of a second faster than John Chico, so that he's not really getting away from John Chico or even Chacha there in the third place, and it's probably doing exactly as we watch. It's only trying to make a move here, coming down into turn 10, a really smooth move there from Tizzoni, getting up that position into P11. So had a bad start off the start of the grid, down one place from where he started, Tizzoni, so it's going to be interesting to watch him come back up through the field if he can, but field pretty much getting spread out at the moment. Oh, as we see there, one of the Astons getting extremely wide through turn number 5 and nearly hitting that wall on the outside, so managed to save that car. So still able to go around, and that's Matsas in 6 in the AM class at the moment, but joining back up to the front. They've managed to close down that gap. It was at 0.6 of a second, down to 0.2 of a second now. Chico behind Gross. So Chacha not really putting Chico under a lot of pressure has helped them get back up to the leader out in front.
And there is really Sir, and he's just made up a position on Zubrev. That is for second position in the AM category, so good move there from the driver of the number 36 McLaren, getting past Zubrev down into turn 10. Definitely the easiest and most opportunistic overtaking spot there, just behind the car in front, tucking in the draft and making his way past nice and easily. Rancioni crossing the line, set the fastest lap of the race in the AM category, so he is clearly on a mission to get back up out of that 11th overall spot that he occupies at the moment. Here are your top 3 for a moment there, extremely close between them, just about half a second covering the entirety of your top 3 as they make their way now onto the back straight, and clearly that strategy of pushing Chico along has helped them out here, because look at that, only 0.2 of a second now between the top 2 drivers. Chico in the draft of Rimgross, and are we going to see any moves being made here? Maybe with a bit of help from moving behind, he might be able to get something happen.
Yeah, it definitely is. Probably biding the time, Chacha, there. You saw the I rating. I mean, he is a class above the rest of the field, over 6K. The rest of them ran about 5 and down to 900 I rating. So the split of I racing in this series is huge, but at the moment Chacha just biding his time. I think they're in third place because that slipstream coming down that back straight is quite strong, as we saw earlier on, pushing Chico closer to Gross to close that gap down at the front is going to be very interesting. But Talstern, they're just coming through turn 10, but Zur, they're just getting it slightly wrong coming down to 10A as we look at a replay. Probably overextended himself coming down there, just trying to keep that position ahead of the Mercedes coming behind him. So he's coming down to the corner, late braking, literally just misses that apex and decides to go across the grass. So probably a wise decision, I think, there from the McLaren driver.
Yeah, pretty difficult to rejoin back onto the circuit at that point. There's almost contact between, is this Ferran and Bakar again? It is, as the two drivers still nose to tail, and almost Bakar sneaking the nose up the inside, but immediately cut off by Hagai Ferran there. He was having absolutely none of it. Very nearly contact between the two of them as they almost went side by side through the S's. But now in towards turn number 7 here and onto the back straightaway. We'll see if Bakar is going to be able to make anything happen there. 0.07 of a second of a gap between Chachashvili and John Chico. Is he going to be able to make a move in towards turn 10? No, he's going to hang back again. So not choosing this time by to make any kind of move. He's not ready for that just yet. Still biding his time out there.
Yeah, it is very extremely close, but time is running out. But we rejoin this battle for fourth place for Ferran and Bachar. The McLaren driver behind there seems extremely racy, and the Mercedes driver in front is doing such a good defensive job, just closing off the lines at the last minute. The McLaren driver, sorry, cannot make the passing move, but certainly seems to have the pace as we look through here. Going, is it going to be a side-by-side? Not quite into turn number 1. Probably the better point of valor there to stay behind the Mercedes drivers of Ferran as they come up to start another lap. There's only 3 minutes left here, so another 2 laps possibly at the most that these drivers are going to go around. So Bachar needs to make that move somewhere out on track, but at the moment Ferran is making an excellent defensive job and really making the sides of that Mercedes pay well.
Yep, so 3 minutes left for the drivers, so definitely 2 laps to go as they make their way across the line. And looking at some of the AM drivers there, Rancioni still setting incredibly quick lap times out there, trying to catch up to Yehuda Ben Yosef just in front, and doing so successfully over the last couple of laps. We'll see if he's able to catch up and try and make a pass by the end of the race. He's just got less than 1.5 seconds of gap there. A little bit further back, this is Aiden Scher getting past, draw last, who seems to just pull over and let him go in towards turn number 6. And not too much of a battle going on at that part of the circuit. And here is Yaron, obviously having those issues in lap 2, that little incident with the turn 3. As we've got, drama at the front of the field. Mark Zubrev has managed to get up at the first position overall in the AM category. And he's now right onto the back of Yossi Gabai as well. So I wonder if something's happened to Talstern and Really Sir. Those 3 were battling for the top spots. The Zubrev, last time I checked, wasn't he in 3rd place?
I think he was, yeah, really profiting. It does look like there's an incident here as we come back to a replay. Where is this on the long back straight coming down into turn number 10? Super defensive move there by the Mercedes going in front. Oh, a real late lunge. Whoa. Luckily, he managed to get that car stopped, but lost a lot of momentum, and that's where Talstern has really lost the positions out on track in that first place in the AM, really. Probably an unnecessary move. He did have that first place pretty much sewn off, but Zubrev has made an excellent attempt and overtaken Stern into that corner. So, you know, into the closing stages of this race, it's extremely close as we look here. Chacha just looking down into turn 10, trying to make that move done side by side. He's going to be on the outside here through turn 10B, and now it's a complete drag race through turn 12s, which is quite easy to do on this, a really open corner that you can get the car's maximum speed, but it just doesn't look at the moment that Chacha's got the speed over Chico, and what that has done is let Gross get away up in front. So that move there has really put pay to that, trying to get the race win. But Chacha is really pushing Chico as hard as he can. You can see him there right on the rear fin of Chico's car is Chacha, and he's just not able to make that passing move there.
Yeah, it was a close one for sure, but good defense by Chico. You see just a slight move over to the left from Chico, just to squeeze Chacha's line ever so slightly as they made their way through into that turn 10 A and B sequence, and that just helped him carry a little bit extra speed. Here we are then in turn 6 and 7. The exit of this corner, incredibly important. They're trying to go all the way around the outside as Chacha, and I don't think that's the right decision there. Look at the speed he's lost on the exit. Now he has the draft all the way down the back straight here. Final lap of the race. One corner, one braking zone remaining for Chacha to make this move. He's going to pull over. Try to pull over to the left-hand side. Is he going to get given that line from Chico? He's squeezing. They're making contact down the straight. A massive squeeze from Chico now onto the brakes for them. Reamcross will take the victory, but Chacha up the inside is going to take that second place from Chico. Fantastic move. Great racing from the two of them. Reamcross comes around the final corner to take the win in race number 1. And Chacha just about claims that second place back from Chico at the line.
Yeah, that was extremely hard there from Chacha. Chico was pressurizing him a lot down that back straight, but Chacha was just not going to give up on that inside line to get that inside line into turn number 10. But looking here at the AM battle, Zubrev is under a lot of pressure from Stern, trying to make it here, but unfortunately not able to hold off Zubrev. So Zubrev gets the AM victory here with Stern pushing him all the way to the line to get that second place. Obviously, your top 10 are reversed for race 2, so it's certainly going to be interesting compared to the speed that Gross, Chacha and Chico had over the rest of the field. So I expect them to try and make early moves to overturn that deficit that they're going to have starting in 8th, 9th and 10th. So it's going to be an interesting second race here, Dane, with quite a few amateur drivers on the front row of this grid.
Yep, absolutely. Yehuda Ben Yosef finishing in that 10th spot will be starting on pole position for the feature race, the second of the 2 races here at Road Atlanta, round 10 of 12 in this Season 8 championship. Here is the full grid then. Remember, the top 10 are inverted from that first race result. Everybody else will just start the race in the order that they finish. Yehuda Ben Yosef, of course, on pole position. Then Really Sir in second, Tal Stern in third, alongside Mark Zubrev in fourth. So be interesting to see those two go back at it again. Yossi Goodbye just behind them, pole position in the pro category. Maddie Ricard just behind him in P6. Hagai Ferran, John Chico share row 4. And then 9th and 10th, Ruven Chacha and Reem Gross. Reem, obviously the quickest driver in qualifying and out on the circuit in that first race as well. Be interesting to see him carve his way through the rest of that top 10. If he can, throughout the second 15-minute race. And then the rest of your grid, Rancioni, Bertie Galili, we've got in 13th, Ofer Masuz, Eden Scher, draw last, Tomo Ventura, Nadav Yuron, Yari Malkov, and Ido Isaac in 19th and final position on the grid. Well, some fantastic racing that we've just seen there. And like we predicted, Andy, most of that overtaking happening into turn 10. The drivers being a little bit more tactical than what we've seen them be throughout the season so far. Tomo Ventura starting the race from the pit lane, it seems, as the lights are on the pace car, and the drivers making their way down towards turn number 1 then. So it'll be interesting to see what's happened to Tomo Ventura as he starts from the pits, if he starts the race at all. We'll see what happens there, but the drivers making their way through the S's now. We saw a pretty clean start there, Andy. Do you think they'll be able to replicate it?
Well, I'm hoping so. I mean, that first race was relatively clean, but as we all know, probably the second race is the sort of hand grenade pin really gets let loose, being the last race of the night, and that's where we normally see a lot of the action. I mean, it's going to be interesting because you do have the faster guys, Gross, Chacha and Chico there in 8th, 9th and 10th with a lot of the slower drivers in front, so it's going to be interesting to see. As we see a Mercedes literally just stop there.
You're on, stopping on the circuit. Their car was bouncing a bit. Have we had contact on the formation lap? We have had contact on the formation lap. Multiple cars getting into each other. What has gone on there?
That is, has he got damage already from that slight little tap? So
I think there might have been more contact to his side or to the rear left of the car. We'll see here. Was there second? There was secondary contact. A little bit of netcode involved in that one. It's the 90 of Ido Isaac coming through there. That was just one person checked up and no one else did, and they all just piled into the back of each other. So already a little bit of chaos at the beginning of the race before we've even got started halfway around the pace lap. So we'll see what that means for the start of this race then.
Yeah, you're on not having the best of days. Obviously, he had that incident in the first race, really put paid to him, and he's had to do it. He's going to have to do it all again, starting from the pits here in the second race. I mean, I should they get a fast repair, and is that its fast repair now being used up? That is pretty mean if it has, with that severe net code we had there. But we're looking at Youssef at the front of this field. Will he be able to get away in that McLaren? So it's a McLaren 1-2 at the moment on grid, but a lot of the Mercedes behind. And like you said, you got Chico, Jakarta and Gross behind, expected to get through the field quite easy, but might get frustrated really as they get away and they are off. Youssef just managing to get the lead out there, but real bad start there from Zar. He's already down 2 positions. Taustern and Zubarev managed to get past the driver. Zar just managing to get that 3rd place back, but a big incident here around turn number 1. The Mercedes there and the Aston Martin, pretty much your last getting caught up in a lap 1 incidents around turn number 1. So as we said before, that is a treacherous corner, but coming down the S's for the first time, Youssef has managed to get a start and a pretty clean getaway at the moment. Taustern up ahead of Zar in 3rd place, is only down 1 place. So looking further back, Riva and Chacha managed to get up 3 places, same with Reem Goss, but Chiki is down 1 place in P9, so didn't have the same start as the first front runners in race number 3 as they come down onto the back straight for the first time side by side. The cars are just jostling for position at the moment, taking down this long straight. And it's always treacherous, Dane, on this first lap. Tires are cold with the slipstream effect, and if you don't just try to brake on the normal marking for this turn number 10, you'll probably find yourself spinning off as we look at the cars jostling black. But these front 2 between Stern and Youssef having a real good battle, but look at this at the back, just side by 7 cars. This is I know, it's absolutely insane.
The drivers going side by side there, about 6 rows back, almost, as they make their way into turn 10. They're a little bit wide, a couple of drivers onto the grass, all over the place, and is there going to be contact somehow? They've managed to keep themselves going in a straight line, as there is contact eventually as Zubarev and Gross taken off the circuit. A little bit of contact involved with Yossi Gabay as well, who's going to drop down a position. Yaroslav Malkov up 11 positions at the start of this race after 1 lap and 1 corner. Taustern got ahead of Yehuda Ben Yosef as well to take the race lead down into turn 10 too. And finally, we have got single file throughout the entire field, but absolute chaos going down that main straight there.
It was. I mean, there was so many cars. Like we saw 7 cars at the back coming through turn 10A and 10B, you know, literally just trying to vie for position. And I think it was Reem that basically got Gross, got absolutely poleaxed coming down that start-finish straight. We saw him out on the grass, done an excellent job to recovery, and then got hit into turn number 1, spun his car around, and you can see him there pretty much around the back of the grid. So Gross had a terrible start here for race number 2, but Chica managing to get himself up overall 4th position out on track. As we see that Mercedes, that was a dive bomb into turn 10. How was that not a spin round from that car there from Youssef? So Stern making a really deep dive there, or was it Farrar there coming in? That Mercedes, yeah, it was Farrar. And coming around, that was an extremely late move there coming into turn 10, but I suppose that's what you got to do around this track. The passing opportunities are very few and far between as the McLaren driver tries to come back, but going extremely wide and literally open up the gap there for Chico to say thank you very much, guys, I'll take them 2 easily positions. Same with Ferran, I think he got through as well.
Yeah, it was Ruben Chacha and John Chico following this group of Ben Yosef and Ferran. They go side by side, but Yosef on the inside runs a little bit wide, and then Chacha and Chico just both take the inside line. So yeah, a bit of an odd one there, making a side by side move into turn 1. Not usually the best way to go about things, but a bit of understeer for Ben Yosef on the inside. Ferran obviously avoiding him, and both of them will lose both positions there to the 42 and the 95 Mercedes cars. So we will see these drivers make their way down now. A little bit of an incident up into turn 3 as well, further back in the field, as one of the drivers was sideways off in the alt layout, one of the very cursed chicanes that they have here at Road Atlanta. As we see side by side, a little bit further back, Rancioni in that Mercedes, trying to get ahead of Bertie Galidi. They go side by side now. Galidi is going to cede the position in towards turn 10. Cioni easily moves up into 9th position overall. 2 places gained so far in the race for him. and you're on his recovery drive. 5 places gained from where he started the race on the grid, but obviously starting the race realistically from the pit lane, as Tal Stern and Ruben Chachashvili both setting fastest lap times for their respective classes on lap number 3. Chacha gaining a little bit of time over John Chico on that regard. These two still battling at it in first and second in the pro category, but now Ruven's got to try and gain a gap up to Tal Stern. You can see how quickly that gap has closed down. He's almost going to be able to make a move into turn 6 here.
Yeah, he certainly is. Closed that gap really well into the S's, and I think Stern just realising the pace, letting the front two get ahead of them. No point battling them. They are by far the fastest guys out on track, and making light work of starting in 9th and 10th out on this grid. Currently on lap number 4, and they are back in front. Chacha and Chico having that epic battle. Obviously, the winner of the first one, Gross, still in the mid-pack race after that incident coming round turn number 1. So has a lot to do, but where we have 3 cars wide coming down the back straight here into turn 10, somebody is going to have to give as the McLaren manages to get out in front. I mean, these cars are on fixed setup, so it's not all about setup and having that straight line speed. These are all using fixed car setup, so you can sort of see the power of that McLaren is extremely well in a straight car over the Mercedes.
Yep, the cars all do have their slight differences there. Balance of performance, of course, trying to make them as equal in terms of lap time as possible, but they all have their own characteristics. So the 5 different GT4s that the drivers have to choose from, the Mercedes obviously being the most popular one, then followed by the McLaren. Then we've got the Aston Martin, a couple of representatives in the Aston Martin in there as well. But no one opting to drive the BMW M4 or the Porsche Cayman, the 718 Club Sport car. The first GT4, actually, that was introduced onto the iRacing service about 2 years ago now. The car used in the first ever season broadcast on Apex Racing TV of the iRacing Israel League back in Season 2. So GT4's where the series sort of originated almost. And then we're back here in very different looking machinery, but the racing as good as ever. 5 laps in this race so far, about 7 minutes gone, so nearing half race distance. And we have a look at Rancioni trying to make his way through. That's really Serge just in front of him to gain a 3rd position, a podium finish in the AM category in the Mercedes against the McLaren once again. Looking to the inside and towards turn A, a late move being made on the brakes for Rancioni. They're going to go side by side through turns 10A and 10B. He's got to watch out. Yossi Gabai having a bit of a look here as well, but Sioni carrying the extra speed around the outside of the McLaren. They'll still be side by side through the final corner here. Is he going to be still alongside? He is. And here comes Yossi Gabai to make it 3 wide down and towards turn number 1. And who's going to back out first? None of them will. They'll go 3 wide, and around the outside goes Sioni to take that 3rd place in the AM category, and Yossi Gabai having to make a defensive block on Rim Gross, who's just caught up to the back of these 3.
Yeah, it definitely was. That was a game of blink there coming into the first corner, 3 wide, and unfortunately the McLaren and the Mercedes just backed out, and the front Mercedes managed to get it through. But it's really good as we watch a passing move here. Josef trying to get the move done on the Mercedes driver there, coming down into turn number 12, going side by side around the last corner. And wow, these two literally not giving it the Mercedes power, really powering around that last corner, showing its speed certainly, and its heels to the McLaren there coming around into turn number 1. But it's always great to have these new additions, because I do remember the GT4 class very much being the BMW and the Porsche Dane. It's great to see. Oh, as we watch a spin now with Markov. He was our biggest climber out on field, up around about 12 positions, and now currently lost a few, so only up 8 positions. So unfortunate spin there from Markov there, just trying to recoup himself coming through turns 10 and 8. Gross getting that one completely wrong. The pro driver caught up very much in the battle with the AM field.
Yep, and the drivers do get points. They get bonus points for a couple places, a couple different ways in the series. One of them is positions gained. They do get bonus points at the end of the rounds for most positions gained. So Yaroslav Markov still leading that battle. He's got 9 positions gained now as he overtakes Reem Gross. However, Ruben Chachashvili still very close behind with 8 positions gained, currently out in front by about 1.5 seconds in first position. You can see him on your screens now. So Yaroslav has to keep an eye on that as well. Obviously, Ruben can't gain any more positions, but if Yari does start to lose any more positions, he will lose those bonus points as well. So something to keep an eye on there. 10 minutes gone in race number 2, round 10 of season 8 of the iRacing Israel League. Ruben Chachafili still with that race lead. Probably one of the favourites to win the championship. Out in front in the championship, of course, main championship rival Alonde not participating in this round either. So good opportunity for him to gain some points heading into the final meeting of the season, rounds 11 and 12 at Virginia International Raceway in 2 weeks' time, as we see Yehuda Ben Yosef defending from Rancioni, who wants that second place in the AM category, and he's going to get that second place in the AM category around the outside of the final corner here. He'll swoop just ahead, just cutting the nose off of Yehuda Ben Yosef, and up into 5th position overall as well. But he's going to have a bit of work to do if he wants to catch up to Tal Stern. 7.8 seconds is that gap, and Tal Stern setting yet another fastest lap of the race in that AM category. Reem Gross faster than the pros, down in 6th position in the pro category, but 10th position overall as he sets a 25.0. Still nobody in the 24s just yet.
No, it's certainly not. But it's quite surprising that we've seen quite a few passes as we were expecting coming down to 10A. But the cars are not really defending that inside line. Pretty much opening it up for the car behind to try their luck around the inside. And it's really paid off for the one that gets the inside for the first one, that then has the outside for the second turn, 10B. And they're able to really put the power down, because that corner really opens up for them coming up over the hill down into turn number 12. So really good opportunity if you can get to the inside here down into turn A. But looking on the back of Ben Yosef here, who's currently 3rd in the AM Championship after that excellent pass on the last lap of in 4th place in the AMs. Pisoni in 2nd. Oh, look at that for a lunge. I mean, that was really far back, the McLaren driver, making it really pay. So it's McLaren versus McLaren really here over turn 10B, coming down into turn 12. So not able to get the move, but really showing his intent there on the McLaren driver. Oh, and we had a driver there off into the back that completely got that turn 12 wrong. Malkarov, that is, he's not going to be top position gained here in this race, Dane.
Yep, unfortunately, just another incident down to that final corner, and just unfortunately hopping off the ball there as well. Bit of damage to the car, and he is out of the session, so he will not be taking any further part in this race. Unfortunately for him, he was up for some bonus points and a fantastic second race here at Road Atlanta as well. Those bonus points for the most positions gained now do fall, of course, to race leader Ruben Chachashvili. And if there's one person on the circuit that doesn't look like going backwards at all in these final 2.5 minutes, it is that man up in the 1st position, as we have a massive train of cars here. We've got Yehuda Ben Yosef, we've got Really Tsir, Yossi Gabay, and Reem Gross. These 4 cars battling. Yehuda Ben Yosef slightly ahead of the other 3. We're definitely going to see a move or two being made into that position there. Here's Tal Stern in the number 11, looking for that 3rd position overall of Hagai Ferran. And those two are going to be very close indeed, heading in towards that next lap. We'll have 2 laps to go for these drivers. As Yossi Gabay off into the runoff area there, and Reem Gross will take that position, and he's not going to stop there. He's up the inside of Really Sir as well.
Yeah, definitely 2 for 1 there. You just saw that line that was Gross sort of took there, really moved through turns 10A, 10B. The rest of the drivers all over the place with really alternate lines. And Gabay really losing out there overall, literally getting the really tight line into turn 10A and literally closed the speed off through turn 10B. But looking at Tagar Farrar there in P3 overall, 3rd in the pro class, getting really under a lot of pressure from Tal Stern, the top AM driver. But just looking at Yosef Gabay, just seeing if he can get a passing move there on in 4th place overall. But it's coming to the closing stages of this race now. 1 lap to go, possibly go there. Oh, as Gabay's just blinking a little bit, starting to come onto the back straight, but certainly a side-by-side move here down the back straight. Who's going to have the most power and who's going to be the bravest coming down into turn 10A? The McLaren just tucks behind to get a bit of slipstream on the Mercedes. That Mercedes, like I was saying, tucked up really close onto the inside of the track to try and cut off that undercut move into turn 10A, but opens up on the outside and gives the opportunity to the McLaren driver. And the McLaren driver says, thank you very much. And that's a relatively easy passing move there. And oh, as I say that, the McLaren gets it completely wrong coming out 10B and clips the back of the Mercedes driver there, Yasin Gabay. Pretty much takes them both out of the race, and Gabay has got some damage. Is going to have to go back into the pits.
Yep, and a very difficult pit lane to enter as well here at Road Atlanta. Very easy to get that wrong. As we are now on to the final lap of the race here. Lap number 11 of 20 possible laps. But the 15 minutes is now over, so when Riven Chachivili comes towards the end of the lap, that will be it for him, and everyone else now starting their final laps as well. Here is Tomo Ventura as we look at the Mercedes driver battling along with the Aston Martin just behind now of Ofer Masuz, gets ahead and up into that 11th position overall, 6th position in the AM category. But John Chico in 2nd position, a massive gap behind him to Hagai Ferran and Tal Stern. But up in front, Ruben Chachishvili coming through the final couple of corners now. Chico, oh, Chico is slow, you're right. Sam Fitzpatrick, the producer, in my ear. Chico is slow, maybe potentially running out of fuel, maybe a bit of damage there as well. But Ruben Chachishvili crosses the line then. He will take the win in race number 10 of the championship. Hagai Ferran closing ever quicker as John Chico across the line just about makes it in that 2nd position. What has happened to John Chico there? I think it is a fixed setup series, so not too sure what could have been making him slow, as he does just about get that 2nd position, 0.3 of a second in it. If there was another second left in the race, Andy, that would have been all over. As oh, there goes Ofer Masuz, and here comes Mark Zubrev, of course, getting taken out in turn 1 earlier on in the race. A massive comeback drive for him. He'll snatch 6th position off of Bertie Galili and Tomo Ventura there as he crosses the line. Sorry, Tomo Ventura and Ofer Masuz there as he crosses the line to take 6th position in the AM category. 2 positions on the final corner.
Yeah, definitely is a great result there from a pretty terrible start of the race. As they watch a quick replay here, coming down into 10A, Zubrev taking the optimal line here. The 2 in front really battling quite hard, which is going to compromise their speed. Literally just gets past them purely on having the better racing line. The 2 cars in front of them making a slight mistake, little bit of contact which compromised their speed. And he pretty much said, thank you very much, guys. I'll take them positions right at the end of the race. So Mark Zubrev getting 2 freebie positions there right at the end. But Chica, I mean, that first race getting held up a little bit by Chico coming in that first race, but managing to get that 2nd place and pretty much showing his dominance in this 2nd race, being able to get that lead and pretty much securing it out front. Nobody really challenging him. So a great day. And like you said, his main rival in 2nd place in that Pro Championship, not here today. So we'll be extending his points at the top of that. And with only 2 rounds left to go, 4 races in total, it's going to be a hard order for anybody to overturn him.
Yeah, it'll definitely take some incidents coming his way in order for anyone to overtake him in the championship as it stands. 40 points do go to the winners of these races though, so definitely not over yet. 80 points up for grabs for the drivers in the championship. But here are the full feature race results. Race number 2 here at Road Atlanta, round 10 of the championship. Ruben Chacha, of course, taking the victory by a whopping 7.6 second gap. Out in front, John Chico just about holding on, probably ran out of fuel. We'll have a speak to him in just a sec. And he just about holds on to 2nd place. Hagai Ferran in 3rd there, just ahead of Tal Stern there in the end, taking 1st place in the AM category, 4th place overall for him. Rancioni in 5th position there, Rim Gross, Yehuda Ben Yosef, Nadav Yaron, Really Sir and Bertie Galili rounding out your top 10. Looking at Nadav Yaron, he started from the pit lane, so fantastic result from Nadav there, up 9 positions from where he started on the grid. But you got Marcus Zubarev, of course, making that comeback drive as well. Now this is in the 2nd lap of the race in turn 1, managing to just gain a couple positions right at the end there. Tomo Ventura and Ofer Masuz losing out on that position. They finished 12th and 13th. Draw last in 14th, Yossi Gabay in 15th, Ellen Scher, Yari Malkov, Ido Isaac, and right at the bottom, Maddie Bakar. Those drivers all ending up in some kind of incident and not able to finish the race where they would have hoped. And that is your full second race of tonight's results. We do have some drivers waiting to have a chat with us in the commentary booth, so we're going to start off things then. We're going to have a word with John Chico. We will bring him in here now, and he joins us here. John Chico, welcome back to the Apex Racing TV broadcast booth. Great to have you as always. What are your thoughts on what looked like a pretty fun couple of rounds for you? You had a good old battle in race number 1 right to the very end. Talk us through race 1 first of all.
Hey guys, how you doing? So yeah, Dane, this was we promised a good race after being at Road America. I said it was going to be a good one, and it was. Coming into this strategy was just to get as many points as I can, and kind of be a little bit safe. My qualifying was crap. I should have been either second or third at least, but that brought about that really nice battle, three-way battle we had in the beginning, and at some point, I just took the chance to pass Ruven, and then he tried to bump draft me a little bit so we could get closer to Ram, but Ram was on fire today, so no chance of getting close to him. Yeah, it was a good battle with Ruven. Ruven made that final move. Parked on the apex of that last turn before the bridge. Yeah, so I had to drastically reduce all my speed. But yeah, hey, that's racing. You did a great job. He waited, he was patient, and it was a good race, the first one. Yeah, for sure.
And then the second race, pretty much a good start from you, getting up with quite a few positions early on, avoiding all of the carnage that was happening in the first couple of laps. Second place for most of that race, and then right at the very end, you were slow on the last lap. Did you run out of fuel?
No, I wish. I wanted to. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut the track a little bit. Maybe manage to get closer to Ruven. Maybe he's gonna get freaked out. But obviously, I got to slow down for that, which I anticipated. I had enough of a gap back to serve that time, but Roman was long gone before I could even get closer to him. So it was just, just a stupid kind of thing I tried, which didn't work. And at the end, I just slowed down so I could get like this final, shot with a guy from who's a really dear friend, and all my gears from him. So I wanted to have this final, final shot at the end. And that's about it. I mean, the second race was, it was crazy. The first couple of laps was very intense. I think I got lucky 16 times during those 2 laps. But yeah, here I am at the end. So good job for Roman. It was very fast today. Also Ram, congrats to everybody, first, second, third. And it was good.
Well, that is the end of the round at Road Atlanta. Heading to the final 2 races of the season then, rounding off our very Americanized calendar in the season of the iRacing Israel League. Virginia International Raceway, something that we see very rarely on iRacing. Do you have any experience at all on the circuit?
I have some real life experience and some sim racing experience, but nothing comes close to a real life. So it was an old Fox body Mustang, which was built for track. So I don't know what kind of an experience that was, but it's an experience, So it's gonna be that. I think that's gonna be. I don't know if it's gonna be a crazy race. It should be a good race because of those long, never-ending. I don't know if you could call them straights, but whatever. But it's gonna be a good one, and got to be on our toes for that. Real precise. But it's gonna be good. It's gonna be very challenging for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having a chat with us after the race. Congratulations on your second place in race number 2 and a good position in race number 1 as well. We'll see you in a couple of weeks at Virginia International Raceway.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Always great to hear from John Chico after these events. And next up, we're going to have a word with race number 2's winner, Riven Chachachvili, standing by with Andy.
Hi, Ruben. Welcome to the commentary box. Obviously, first race, a good second place overall with a strong fight there with Chico. The second race seemed to be a little bit more easier for you, but you had to sigh through the field. Let's talk us through that first race to begin with. And were you just biding your time to get past Chico, or was Chico being ultra defensive for yourself and making it really hard to pass?
Yeah, so first, hey, everybody. Good evening. Yeah, so the first race, Chico was amazingly fast, as well as Ram, and I tried to had a quick overtake on Ram, but he had a good red position and defended pretty well, and I get intervened with Chico, and Chico is a great fighter. He's pretty aggressive, to be honest, and it makes the race pretty fun. But due to the fact that I didn't practice enough, I decided to just take everything a step back to begin, from the third and understand how if it's even possible to have the first. So I decided to push Chico to fight with Ram, hoping that it will happen. But it seemed that Ram had a great pace and Chico didn't manage to catch up. And last lap, I had the moment and I attacked Chico, and luckily it ended pretty well. It was a pretty good race with Chico in the first one.
We certainly saw that on the last race, Chico trying to push you off the track coming down the straightaway there, but you were not giving up on that inside track, and unfortunately Chico had to succumb, and which gave you that inside line for turn 10A. But that was a great passing move and a really hard-fought second place overall in the first race. In the second race, obviously starting in P9 overall, I mean, we saw a lot of incidents in the opening lap. How did you manage to get around there and obviously get the position gains as quickly as you did and avoiding contact and damage on your car?
Yeah, so the reverse grid is kind of, pushes you and forces you to be as aggressive as you can in the first laps. And it's kind of a gamble in some aspects. Because if you want to catch up with the leaders, you must be aggressive on the first laps, reminding that the race is only 15 minutes. I mean, you don't have too much time. And I look in the mirror and it seemed to be a bit of a demolition derby behind. And I mean, it's a bit of a tough track. I don't blame anyone. It's pretty hard to race here. It's pretty good track, to be honest, but it's hard to have good racing, especially in the first, I would say, first sectors. Towards the uphill and the S's, I think it's a place to be only single file. So I had to push as aggressive as I could, and luckily, although I had a bit of a touch with Max Zubalev, I think, I luckily managed to pave my way to the first.
Yeah, definitely. Tal Stern obviously was in front. We saw you closing that gap and the lead that Tal had managed to make pretty quick coming up to turn number 5. And luckily Tal got out the way of both yourself and Chico to try and probably let you two go ahead, being that you were so much quicker than the driver. But pretty much as soon as you got to the front of the grid, you managed to get out a really good lead. And I'd imagine from lap 3 onwards, it was pretty much all plain sailing from there on in.
Yeah, indeed. So I think that as soon as we had a clear track, I think it was Chico and I together after we managed to take over Tal, which I think that, to be honest, I think he let us by. If I'm not mistaken, he's from a different category, from a rookie. I guess that he just decided to let us pass and have, different category races. I guess, I'm not sure about it, but yeah, I just look in the mirror and try to manage tires, manage my pace, to be consistent as much as I can, because the Mercedes in this track is although it's quick, it's pretty tricky to keep consistent, as the tires are getting warm, especially in the S's and in the first half of the track, and getting toward the hairpin to the straight, it's pretty hard to get a good exit. So I just concentrated and tried to find the best exits that I can, because I think that this what makes you a win in such a track.
Yeah, it definitely is a very technical track that you really got to pay a lot of respect to and not over push the track. But you certainly gave yourself the best shot. Obviously, your second place in the championship wasn't here tonight, so having a second and a first is pretty much the best you could have done here. Next round, we go to the Virginia Raceway. Not a track very much used on iRacing or leagues. Personally, I love the track. Certainly that back straight after the Oak Tree turn, coming down into the S's there, the blind corner. Have you got much experience around that track, and how do you see the car that you're going to choose around there to pay out for you?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm not even know how the track looks. I'm only familiar with the name. I've never driven there with any of the cars. So this is the fun part of racing, you know, to challenge yourself with a new track. I'm really looking forward to have a race there, because to be honest, I didn't have much time to practice to the last two races, and you know, I try to respect people that practiced more and didn't look for unnecessary fights, let's say. And I think that in the next race it will be obligatory for me to practice much, because I'm not familiar with the track. And yeah, I'm pretty looking forward to it.
That's great. I mean, you've done the best opportunity you can here, getting that to second and first here, so trying to extend your lead at the top of the championship. So good luck for next week. Before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Thank you. So yeah, to everybody that are racing, to Tal, to Amir, that are having this great league, to the race winners or podiums, Ram, which drove amazingly quick today, Hagai, Chico, and the rest of the people, and you guys, to have a great commentary box as always.
Well, thank you very much, and good luck out in Virginia next week, mate.
Thank you very much. See you guys. Good night.
Your race one, second place, race two winner, so a commanding performance there from the top iRacing driver in the field. But I think that rounds us up then for this evening's events.
Yep, it certainly does. Great to hear from a couple of the drivers after the evening's race as well. Some fantastic racing as always in the iRacing Israel League, and that is right in 2 weeks' time. We will head for the final two races of the championship at Virginia International Raceway. That is going to be hectic, I think is the only word that could possibly describe that. A circuit that not a lot of the drivers would have ever driven before. It's not a very popular circuit on the iRacing service. It is a chaotic circuit. Corners everywhere. I don't think there's a straight section on the circuit other than the actual pit straight. It's absolutely insane. So very much looking forward to that. Make sure you do join us for that in a couple of weeks' time, same time as always. Coming up this week on Apex Racing TV, tomorrow we have got, well, tonight, Rikmatech World Challenge. That starts at midnight UTC tonight, so Tuesday morning. Then Tuesday evening, ARL GT3 Trophy. Wednesday, Ray Sports Racing League and the Apex Racing Academy Porsche Cup Championship run by Apex Racing League. Then on Friday evening, Radical Racing Challenge returned for their next round of their championship. Formula 3.5 alone on Saturday evening. And then Spec Racer Forward Weekend Warriors and IGP Fun F3 Championship both kick off on Sunday evening. Those two championships, always great fun to watch, and you can watch them pretty much back to back as well. So some great racing coming up here on Apex Racing TV. Make sure you do subscribe if you don't want to miss any of that. Well, thank you everybody so much for watching tonight on the iRacing Israel League here on Apex Racing TV. If you did enjoy the broadcast, please leave a like. It does help us out quite a bit. Thank you from Andy Thompson alongside me, Sam Fitzpatrick up in the production booth, and from myself, Dame Baird. We will see you in 2 weeks' time for the season finale of Season 8 of the iRacing Israel League. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use